to me, one of the most compelling things about Bitcoin, and I think the thing that I love about it the most is I think we're living in a world of sort of Bitcoin's aim is to kind of definancialize a lot of stuff. Whereas Web3, I think is sort of, it seems like it's about kind of hyper financializing things, which again, we're back to the issue of whether you're addressing sources or symptoms of problems. Cause I think most proponents of Web3 would suggest that, what we're really doing is just democratizing, the ways that people can accrue value or make money. And isn't that a great, wonderful thing? Because everybody gets to sort of own things in their communities and everything is a liquid market. But, it's only, I'm more interested in asking the question, is the world that we want to live in one where we need to sort of hyper financialize every aspect of an individual's life because financial conditions on a macro level are such that you have to sort of financialize your whole being in order to keep up or get ahead? Is that truly a victory for democracy and just for the kind of psycho-spiritual well-being of all of us and the lives that we want to live versus something like Bitcoin that is kind of a definancializing force that basically says, okay, because we think a world might be better where you're actually able to save money and you don't just have to, spend it or go invest or speculate on some stuff. Would that unlock, ways for you to feel sort of more fulfilled or satisfied as a person? Would you then be able to pursue other things? I think ultimately the end of Bitcoin is that we all think collectively less about money and more about other things that we're interested in.
Yeah.
And I think for me, which I don't want to sort of kind of, I guess, write the article on air here, but that's what I'm kind of fascinated by, is because I think I'm interested in Bitcoin because I'm interested in so many other things and that I want to pursue other things. And our current economic environment is such that everybody has to be, because we can't save money, everybody has to be a full-time investor or a full-time speculator or, just spending all your money all the time, such that there's something is lost in the human experience, I think, when that is what you're forced to do. And I think the promise of Bitcoin is saying, let's sort of deflate that balloon a little bit so that we can all focus maybe on more long-term things that we're interested in, things that that we think are useful, that we would like to build or pursue. And I think the downstream effects of that shift, I think that's the societally transformative stuff.
I was going to say that, do you know what sorry to interrupt, that echoes what Anita Posch was saying the other day. So do you know Anita?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so she spends a lot of time working out in Africa, and she was explaining some of the issues that people have because of the dire state of the money system. And she said one of the biggest problems is money is all you think about, because you wake up every day and not only have you got to figure out how you can earn money so you can live and feed and survive your family, but when you've got money, you've got to spend it as quickly as possible if you're under massively high inflation, because it's going to buy you less shit at the end of the week. And she said, so it just becomes this thing. That's all you do. You think about day in, day out, money, money, money. And that does take away from the human experience. And this is why, by the way, I agree with a lot of the libertarians as well. It's like, we need to all slow down.
Yeah. And I think, and even in Western countries where, the money is, I guess, comparatively stable and it's not, a brutal authoritarian regime. Even I think some of the, I guess, more Western maladies that afflict so many people here, I think would be addressed if we could make it so that you didn't have to think about money every second of the day. I think things like depression, belonging, boredom, fulfillment. I think about these from the perspective of somebody who I spent most of my youth wanting to be, an English professor and talk about books and ideas and things like that. And I also think that I wonder about the implications for if we were to take steps towards, I guess, fixing the money and definancializing things, the implications for education and the implications for art and the types of intellectual discourse that we have in the country. And if we just make everything a little bit less short term, how would that change and how we interact with each other, what we talk about, what we value and care about, and would that then trickle up instead of down, trickle up into policymakers? And that might be a way of almost reverse engineering or kind of backdooring a world where more sort of human fulfillment, more aggregate human fulfillment is possible.
I like it.
That might be overly optimistic, but that's kind of where my head's at.
It's that time preference thing.
It is. And I think it's kind of hard to I really think if you sit and think about the time preference thing, I think it's hard to overstate the implications of adjusting that down.